We had this meeting this morning. I was thinking, what should I say for this community building and spirituality and all that? The thought that came to my mind was that each and every one of us, in order to build a community, each and every one of us have to contribute to actually make a community. Without that, it's generally not possible. I was thinking about myself as growing up in Gurukula since the age of 5. I've seen a lot, been through a lot, heard a lot. I was actually noticing how critical I got of the ISKCON management. I've been very vocal about it, how GBCs are doing this wrong, and they're doing this wrong, and this is not the way to do it, and this is how they should do it. I was extremely opinionated and very critical. Then I thought, you know what? I want to know what these people are going through, so I might as well just go see what they're going through so I can really understand them, because their answers are not satisfying to me. Their answers are just, yeah, we'll try, we'll see, we're working on it, we'll see next year what happens. So it wasn't appealing to me, so then I thought, okay, I have to contribute myself. So then I thought, okay, I moved to the United States. I actually moved up the ladder in Mayapur. I was one of the managers there in Mayapur. And then I wanted to do something different, like where it was a bigger challenge. In the United States, every temple is practically run by Indians, majority of them, and supported by Indians. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that preaching to Americans is a challenge, and doing something in the United States is a challenge. And Srila Prabhupada totally succeeded. So I took up the Atlanta temple, and it wasn't easy. It was very hard, paying a lot of bills, condemned buildings, broken up sidewalks, kitchen roof caving in, basement filled with sewer, all kinds of stuff. When I took up the responsibility and I really went through the motions in 1 year, my opinion and respect towards the GBC body and just the ISKCON society in general just increased tenfold. And then I realized that the importance of gratitude, actually, Srila Prabhupada, he's done so much for us, and how much have we gone out to actually do something for Srila Prabhupada. So I thought I need to at least myself get the answers so that I can keep quiet, and also show some gratitude to Srila Prabhupada by taking up some active role in trying to do something in the United States. Another quick thought, I got 30 seconds. Another quick thought, because I was under the impression that it's going to be a Kulimela, there's going to be tons of youth. I was a youth, I'm no longer a youth, I'm 30 years old. So,
that's young.
That a lot of us, our generation, we tend to have this victim syndrome, that we were hurt, that's why we can't move on, and so on and so forth. I just like to say that is actually a harmful thing for the generation after us. Because I was talking to some kid in Arunachal, he was 14, and he started telling me all kinds of things that ISKCON has done, and his friends were hurt. And I finally find out that it wasn't even him, it was somebody else that he heard from, they heard from somebody else, and heard from somebody else, and he made up his own conclusion. And I take responsibility for that, because I used to be one of those people sitting there and trashing everybody. But I think that it's important for us to try and not stop the cycle right here and let it not be watered down to the next generation, so that at least they can start their Krishna conscious life or whatever life, with a clean slate. Srila Prabhupada ji.
Tomorrow at 10:30, under the lodge, we're going to have a panel session called No Kuli Left Behind. This panel session will be with Bhagavan, with Karna, and with Samba. Some of you know them, some of you don't. Those who don't can come. Those who do will probably come. I just want to say there are so many voices that aren't in this room, that don't feel comfortable being in this room, and yet they still look at this room. They're sometimes here even though they don't want to be here, and sometimes they're not here and they never want to be here, and we can never forget them, and we have to find a way to bring them back into this group, because this is an amazing experience and we have to somehow flesh this out. And it's not simply a matter of making it okay for the second or third or whatever generation. We've got to take a sucker punch, but that sucker punch has got to be meted out against all of us. Some of us had a pretty decent experience. I had a pretty decent experience just as a kid. I had my own traumas, whatever. You know, we have our traumas in life. It's not all caused by Islam. So tomorrow at 10:30 under here, it's going to be an important session. It may not be for everybody, but it will be for a lot of people. And it's important, and I'm just so happy that it's in the fold. It's inside this event, because we cannot be complete without it. So that's announcement number one.
I just graduated college. It was a struggle. Like many of my peers, we had to do it on our own. It was sad that we had to do that. Excuse me. And I have a wonderful wife, and I want to go into this world and make the best of it. Many of my peers have come from such a dysfunctional institution. I want to start a family. And the current measure of accountability in this institution is very disappointing. I want my children to be raised in a healthy Krishna-conscious environment, in a healthy Krishna-conscious institution. And I'm just hoping someone on this panel can address how that might happen. Radhanath Swami?
I believe it begins with leaders of our society. And what does that mean, really? Srila Prabhupada expected every devotee in our institution to be a leader by our examples. Real leadership is our example. Whether we're washing pots or going to college, or preaching, distributing books, or working a job, and chanting Hare Krishna, cultivating a nice family, we're all meant to be leaders by our example. I really feel it is important that all of us hear your concern, share your concern, cry as you're crying, and really try to come together to create communities of devotees where people come first. When we started our temple in Bombay, It started from a grassroots situation. And I was thinking how to try to develop it. Right or wrong, I'm going to tell you my formula. I just thought of what I saw as far as the priorities, how the Hare Krishna movement developed over the years, and try to do everything just the opposite. And see how it works. And my experience is it worked marvelously. In the sense that such great emphasis on projects without real prioritization of the people in the projects. Srila Prabhupada's books prioritize the development of Vaishnava qualities and character in people. Putting the person first. If we emphasize projects, what will often happen is we develop a wonderful project. But after some time, there's nobody left in it. Or those who are left in it are dysfunctional. But if we really make the priority the people, the children, the women, the men, the old, all the ashrams, if we really make that our priority, to give them an environment where they can be nourished and be happy, with good examples, then all of our projects will flourish perpetually.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashafia. I have a question for you. I grew up in this movement. My family established our farm in Thailand. I grew up in Rukula. I had a wonderful experience. But my family was never a part of my life. They were not a big thing. And I applaud those who went out and preached and preached and preached and built our temples and did so much. But in the meantime, they lost all of us. A lot of my generation don't know our parents very well. And our generation, we're in our 30s. We're, like he said, we're getting married, having kids. But the society also holds a big austerity kind of thing, and it's in Maya to be a grihasta and have kids and want to take care of your family. But taking care of your family is part of your preaching. It's not always about going and getting that new devotee, it's about keeping the ones we have. So how do we as grihastas, are wanting to be grihastas, how do we balance that out between helping our movement and still helping our family and not getting the ridicule from a lot of the older devotees that are like, that's Maya, how can you do that? You should get the temple. Okay, yeah, but I have 2 kids. I have my temple at home. I bring them when I can. How do we balance that? How do we make the society more well-rounded and more of a community instead of something that we cannot really live up to? We want to keep our children and we want to make this community more family, not pull us apart or make it seem like it's not real. How do we fix that?
That's a beautiful question, and in 90 seconds I can just throw out a few things. First of all, people are convinced by our actions, not by our words. Words are cheap. And none of us are, we don't want to be fooled by words, we want to see how people actually act. So if we're going to tell people how wonderful Krishna is and how wonderful Krishna consciousness is, we have to make it wonderful. And especially for the people that are closest to us. So that's the first and foremost thing. I think that's the motive for everything that I've heard today. So within that concept of balance, sometimes that means balance means, it doesn't mean at any time in our life we're going to have all the things that are important to us equally balanced. In other words, when even Srila Prabhupada, when he went to college, he put his deities in a box for a short time. He had a dream. Krishna wasn't happy with that. He adjusted it. But, sometimes at different stages of our life, when a young couple has their children, when they're very young, especially the mother, but the father too, that has to be the emphasis at that particular time of life. So balance doesn't just mean at this moment all the aspects of everything I want to do are going to be in perfect harmony. But let me be balanced for the week, let me be balanced for the month, let me be balanced for the year, let me balance for my life. And I think the most important thing is we have to pray to Krishna, that we can, to give us the intelligence to keep our priorities right, that we associate and we hear from Prabhupada what the multiple priorities are, and then we just practically see how can I do the best I can at this particular time. We have to learn from the mistakes of others. And I think in terms of like the generational thing, so many of us in our generation, we grew up with the classic 50s American parents, which was they grew up in the Depression, they survived the war, war's over, there's lots of things, and you love your kids, you buy things, you move to the suburbs, you get a couple cars, you come home, and you tell them, I bought you this, this, and this. And at a certain point, we all said, geez, that's really shallow. You're really shallow. Renounce, 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 renounce. So then when we had kids, I think speaking as a generation, we thought, there's no way in hell I'm going to give my kids all this material stuff. Useless. They're going to learn how to be renounced like me, because that's how you really be happy. And I think we have to see it in a generational perspective and say, okay, you're like, the third generation. Find the balance again. Where's the balance between giving our kids the love and the care that they need here and now, and helping them see that the future happiness comes in loving Krishna? And it's different for everybody. And those are just some general concepts. In specifics, we have to figure that out ourselves. As Mara said, we have to pray to Krishna and he'll give us intelligence.